But we do have a hilarious, hopefully, gimmick of payback. Why payback? Because we are going to call each other out on our favorite games, and that person needs to strain their brain to try to find the flaws in their favorite games. So what we're going to do is I will start it off. I will pick a member of our illustrious panel here, and we have a listing of all their favorite games, four or five each, and they will sit there and sweat and try to legit complaints, not like just like, oh, the graphics are bad, even if they're not. Legit complaints. And if the audience wants to help out a little bit, don't go crazy, but if they're struggling, be like, bad music, or it's knack too, it's terrible. You can certainly do that, and we can do that too. If anyone's struggling, just help them out. Just give them a little nudge. So let's see what we have here. We have Max. He's gone, yeah, that kind of sucks. And it's just, I don't even know what Steve's thinking here, but...
What?
Let's start with one Kenny.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is that me in this case?
No, Eric Killmonger.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
over there.
Right. Peter.
Kenny, why do you hate Mortal Kombat 2 so much?
Wow.
Dang. Well, oh my God. Just rainbow ninjas? Like they couldn't think of anything more original. It's like, hey, how about we just unload the game with ninjas? We'll have a red ninja, a blue ninja, a green ninja. Oh, we got girls? Well, just add some red and blue girl ninjas.
Yeah, okay.
And
Well, one day in the office, one of the artists came in and he was like, guys, there's a palette picker.
And fighting
We
games
don't
change
only
forever.
need smoke anymore.
right? And it's not Street Fighter. Right?
Oh, no. Boo. No.
Yeah, it's not Street Fighter. Oh,
I'm not getting you points on that one, Ken.
No.
You got to reach harder.
that's the
You have to
number
dig-
one.
you have to
That's
dig-
the number
That's
one
like
rule.
saying the only problem is it's too good or something like that.
Exactly. That's the number
Yeah.
one. Everyone's, it's not Street Fighter. It's Mortal Kombat. That's just a game for just fatalities.
What does that mean when someone says it's not Street Fighter? What
Break
is,
that down.
What
Angry
is Street
fanboys,
Fighter?
angry at the end.
No.
No, that's right. I have to.
I'll help you out, Kenny. What the hell is going on with early Mortal Kombat arcade stick button layouts? It's like in the shape of an X with a block button in the middle or something.
Yeah.
What
It's
the
edgy.
hell is that, dude?
It's edgy. Who needs 6 buttons when you got the X?
That was
Are you
good.
defending
And
it,
then
Kenny?
you-
It's
then we're
bold.
defending that? No. That's right.
That's a good answer.
It's bold to have a control scheme that's such garbage, right? It's bold.
Bold, yeah, it was a good
That's
idea.
right. It wants to challenge people.
Or maybe like they got a deal on the board manufacturer and we're like, okay, we can't give you 6 buttons, but we'll save a few bucks with 5. And this is what you're gonna have to work with.
They have to be
See,
laid
what
out
happens
like this.
is they don't want to share arcade boards with anybody. With like Tekken, you could just chop off the other 2 buttons, and then you got Tekken.
That's
Mortal
what they do.
Kombat,
They have a
there's
line where they chop them off the Street Fighter cabinets.
Yeah, exactly. Mortal Kombat, that's set in stone. That's not another arcade cabinet. So
And it's
Mortal Kombat
amazing
flies.
how many games copied that style. Wait, I lied. No one copied that style.
I got
What?
one to add, Kenny.
What?
So Mortal Kombat.
What
2
game copied it?
Someone alleges that something copied Mortal Kombat. Which
What
game?
copied
to
Mortal
find that
Kombat's
game.
control scheme?
I'd love to find.
Just sit there not saying anything. Cool, awesome.
We're waiting. We're waiting for that magical game that copied it.
Fake news.
You're not on this
No,
panel,
you know what
sir.
game that is? We played that game. We beat it.
Kenny, one more thing. One more thing about Mortal
I'm
Kombat.
going to throw one in.
Yeah.
Mortal Kombat 2 introduced the famous Mortal Kombat last boss, Shao Kahn.
Yeah, he's
And,
God. He's
he-
terrible. He
And
looks like
he shoulder checks you.
yeah.
And he shoulder rises you.
No, yeah, the guy's terrible. He looks like a BDSM edgelord.
That's fine. How he looks is fine. It's
fine.
the
He's-
fact
he's
that he
horrific.
just shoulder checks you.
He has a hammer, which is dumb.
which is dumb.
Right? I'm supposed to like. His hammer? Yeah. He hits you with the hammer. But
But let's just think about that. Like Psycho Crusher throwing a hammer.
Psycho Crusher. That's just,
We're talking out of the front row.
But he ain't Thor.
Oh shit! Kenny just beat me up, and he got the paper now.
oh gosh! Wow. I'm
He's in control.
I'm in control.
And you can't pick the same game again. You can't
right.
pick yourself with Mortal Kombat 2 this time.
I'm gonna give it to Max
Oh no.
and talk about why he hates Final Fantasy VII so much.
I was thinking of starting with that. I'm like, no, I'm too scared to call him out on that.
Too scared.
I'm a coward.
Final Fantasy VII has so many issues. There's just, it's so
Yeah?
perfect that it's just impossible to find.
Boo this man! Boo!
So, Final Fantasy VII has not aged well in the graphics department.
Oh, that's
in some ways the decision to go with weird, blocky, chibi-looking characters in the overworld with regular size and sort of normal characters in combat to completely different proportioned characters in CG is one of the most jarring things I've ever seen.
So what you're saying, Final Fantasy VIII is better? That's what you're saying. That's what he's saying. Thank you.
I will give it to Kenny that triple triad is pretty fun.
The characters, Max. The
Uh,
characters.
I will say
better.
that Squall looks like Michael Jackson from Bad. So
No, go back onto FF7.
Sorry.
You're
So the graphics ain't great, but you want to take the gloves off?
Yeah. I've trolled you for years on this. You should be an expert.
Give it to me.
Liam's loving this.
Tell me about how much Vincent and Yuffie matter.
Oh, that's exactly where I was gonna go.
So, in my opinion, here's the problem. I'm inclined to defend that in the game right now. Am I allowed to, Matt? Since you're the McMuscles.
I think you have one defense point
All right.
per game.
All right. Vincent and Yuffie.
I'll allow
while
this.
Some of them represent hardcore story aspects, some not so much, but it's kind of like modern day like Dark Souls story elements where they're not exactly right in front of your face, but they're super important for like main characters and bad guys, which is the entire point of Vincent. So was it a good idea to keep him out of the game? Probably not. Would have been nice to know what the hell's going on and how Sephiroth was made and everything like that, which is a lot of what Vincent's backstory is. But it's kind of a cool moment to come across a cave with a lady in it and she's talking about all this crazy
5,
bullshit.
It's 4, 3, 2. Okay, you're done that point. How about that localization, Max? It's perfect, isn't it?
There's one error. There's only one error, and it's that one spot where you talk to that guy in the bed near Aerith's house. There's nothing else that's perfect.
Nothing.
Do I have to find something
Hey,
bad?
some animations are really
you don't
long.
think some of the like dialogue and terminology aged a little poorly? I won't say it out loud just for obvious reasons.
Well, yeah, it's definitely representative of the time that it came from. But
Yeah,
I would
yeah.
absolutely say that Final Fantasy
Calm
VII,
down.
while it does have elements that should probably change in 7 Remake,
Get in there.
I gotta find something else
Get
to
in
hate
there.
about this. This is tough.
Why can't we skip Knights of the Round?
well, I mean,
I only feel bad for speedrunners in that situation. But yeah, it's a little. That's not FF7, bro.
Yeah.
What is going
Max is clearly struggling with this, so.
Yeah.
on? Oh my God. I would absolutely say that the ending final battle with you and Sephiroth could have been a little bit longer. It's literally one. You literally hit him once.
He
and
summons a meteor and destroys
That
the
is not
entire
the final
universe.
battle.
You could make a sandwich.
Kenny.
I don't know what it is. It's part of the final battle.
No,
whatever,
you have
right?
you literally just hit him
forever.
once. You literally just no. That's the final battle is you whacking him with him. He's shirtless, hanging out in Cloud's fever.
That's why you like Final Fantasy VII so much. It makes sense.
Well, yeah, what you're talking about is the victory lap, as we
the
sometimes refer
victory
to
lap.
it.
The Dante escaping the place on the plane victory lap. Yeah.
I'll say, how about like that boring walk down the crater at the end to Sephiroth, where it's not even a very interesting looking screen, and you're just fighting a bunch of those like big. They're not behemoths, but the.
Oh, you mean the
iron
jumping
giant-
to rock to rock to
to
rock?
rock to rock to rock. to
Yeah,
get
and it's
down
like a
there.
random battle you can get into on the way down.
Yeah.
It's the speedrunner's nightmare.
Yeah.
Uh,
Not the hottest of last areas.
yeah. Hey, this is the worst. There are some things that aren't utilized super great in the end, but the best part is that I get to call Simmons on something.
Because I was gonna say like.
I
Damn.
don't think you even said
How about the
anything bad
pacing
about
after disc 1, where like the whole world's been traveled to, and then disc 2 and 3 is mostly just going back to the same place?
We've talked about FF7 enough.
Max has the paper, so he is the legal man right now.
So, Simmons, tell me everything that is terrible. Tell me the things that griped players for years about Ocarina of Time.
Okay. So
It's getting rough.
the first biggest flaw with Ocarina is a bit of an issue.
How about like almost everything in Twilight Princess is better?
Oh, that's
Well, here's the thing.
that's
That's
It's
pretty
easy to
sketchy.
say a game that came out like 8 years later improved and fixed.
yeah.
things
Considering
from
so
an
many Final Fantasy games are better than 7, like it's crazy.
Why is this? What is that? What is that? Get out!
it. Zing.
That topic is done.
Yeah, okay, I take back my comment. That's the
No.
no. That's not right. That's untrue.
Where is he? Find him!
That's what this is here for.
But I mean, otherwise, there's a bit of an issue where it's like you get the boomerang as a child, and then you immediately become an adult, so you can't use the boomerang. So until like way later in the
They
game,
forgot.
So
It's
you
designed for
like,
the muscles of a child.
right. But I'm saying from a
An
gameplay
adult would hurl it into
I am
the
not going
sun.
to bring logic into Zelda. So are you defending the game?
I want to keep the boomerang when I go back to a child.
No, but I'm just saying, like, you get an item, and then, like, you immediately can't use it after that.
Yeah, it is really shitty.
So it's kind of like, okay, well, we just got this thing. That's pretty cool. And then you're an adult now, and you can't use it. And then Sheik, like, stands in front of the pedestal, and you can't put the sword back and go back for a little while. So it's kind of like, that's a little, eh.
What do you think about timed missions that have no timer? Like when you're carrying the bucket of water and it's going to cool down, but there's not an actual timer to keep track of it.
Bucket of water. You mean like the
Is it
eyeballs for
bucket
the
of
frog?
water?
I think you're actually talking about Twilight Princess.
Was that Twilight Princess?
Yeah. Yeah.
The timelines have converged.
The bucket of
there's-
water thing was, yeah,
what
and then
it
there's
was?
one in Skyward
Okay.
Sword with buckets of water. That's horrible. But
Oh. What about the most annoying thing in the game of Running Man, and there's no possible way to beat him? And they put him in there, and no
Well,
matter
see-
what you do, you can't beat the guy.
well, that only is a problem if you get butt hurt by trolling.
This is
So
video
it's just a
games, of course.
troll, and you pretty much should figure it out by second time you do it. Just know that it's a troll. And if you had a Game Shark, you'd obviously know it's a troll.
So it's a trolley game for
Yeah.
the trolliest person up here. I get it. That's why Simmons likes it.
How about Ganondorf conquering all of just a town square in the future?
Yeah, but at this, what does he need to conquer? Because that actually is a good segue, because what does he need to conquer otherwise? Because the world's kind of bland.
Yeah, like, what do you want? Kakariko Village for why?
Like, yeah,
For
like-
what? The windmill? Like,
I mean,
Screw these people in general.
let's okay. I mean, you're just ignoring the fact that he poisoned and sent a giant spider into the Deku Tree. He blocked off the Dodongo's cavern, thereby starving the Gorons. He made Jabu Jabu go insane, which was the deity of the Zora. So it's not like he did nothing else. He also gave Ingo the ranch in Lon Lon Ranch. So it's like, and then the rest of the world. What's in the rest of the world besides grass and some trees? So.
That's weird because you defended something for about 5 seconds and then immediately crapped on something right after.
This is Simmons' entire history.
Interesting
with Zelda.
combo.
Yes.
I mean, fishing. Yeah, actually, that is probably the. Someone just threw it out there. The worst part, which they fixed in 3D, was that boots were not a hotkeyable item, so you had to constantly pause and unpause to put boots on and off in certain temples. That's the worst part of the game. Like, honest to God. I mean, the bottles are God, because you can swap. You can make anything a bottle in that
That's
game.
true.
They exist on their own dimension of reality in that game, if you really think about it. Navi sucks, but whatever. I worked with kids, so it's kind of like that. If you think that's annoying, yeah, try working in the schools.
I still kind of feel like Ocarina of Time is a really good game. So
It's arguable.
Kirby Air. All right, I didn't see this one earlier, so I'm going to have to just call it out. No. Liam.
Ooh.
Now, I don't think it's a bad game, but like favorite of all time, Kirby Air Ride. Now, I think this is a softball. Because
I love
I'm sure
Kirby.
you can easily find faults with Kirby Air Ride.
there's so many things. The
Liam
game doesn't
can't
have
wait to
online
talk
play. It
about
should
it.
have had online play. Stuff had
true.
online play back then. There's only one city in City Trial. I need like 15 of these motherfuckers. Can we swear? Wait, are we being streamed?
Yeah.
Oh,
we are.
You got one.
damn.
One.
I got one. It's almost impossible to finish the achievement grid. There's too much stuff. It's too hard. There needs to be more wheelie bikes.
Someone
There's only
came
like
prepared.
2 of
You
them.
didn't finish all that stuff?
It's so hard.
I finished that when I was like 13.
You're so good.
Thank you.
Maybe that's a me problem and not a Kirby Air Ride
Exactly. It's
problem.
probably more of a Liam thing.
I'll
than-
admit.
This game had online.
No, it didn't.
No, it didn't.
Oh, I thought you said it.
But
did.
like a
Okay.
lot of games
It
around the
lacked
time,
online.
like Double Dash,
It didn't have
had
online.
online, and it's like, oh,
Well, it had LAN.
yeah. What were the ones that had online then?
Or
is it
Fantasy Star
Fantasy
Online
Star.
and
Oh,
Fantasy
God.
Star Online Card Revolution.
I'll still stand by LAN either way.
It could have had LAN.
What else, guys?
I remember they were even-
Graphically, it's not
They were even
great.
talking about LAN at the E3 it was at, and it never happened, I don't think.
More
Maybe.
lies from Nintendo.
Well, you probably weren't at.
I was like
2003.
5 at the time.
I would love to interject with
Yeah, I
something.
was
I think half the people up here have actually played Kirby Air Ride.
I just wanted to hear
Yeah,
it.
that's what I mean.
Yeah, like
half.
half.
Like I can guarantee you, me, Kenny, and me, Steven definitely haven't, and Kenny, have you?
We
Because
must
of your
have.
children?
Oh, that game was old, man. I'm not that old.
Wait,
Oh,
so could Liam be
I played
lying
it at,
about
like,
the
a
faults
GameStop.
and you guys just don't know?
No,
the game just sucks.
I
Fill
know.
us in.
You know. Okay.
I know, because I'm just kind of like, I was actually more like, well, what makes it good?
that's the good stuff.
we need another hour block for panels, like if we want to do that.
Graphically, it's
the
pretty
best.
poor.
I mean, it's kind of like a hidden gem, but I mean, it's not the best racer on the GameCube. It's not the best racer, obviously, of its generation. It's
There's
I'm like-
really nothing else like it.
it's
though.
really this is really just a favorite, not a best kind of thing.
It's
right?
one of my top 10 though. It's right up there. Yeah.
no, he's serious. He's
I
crazy,
put 4
man.
on the list, and those are like my 4
No,
favorites.
Liam's
Now,
nuts.
but
Liam
this
is
goes
defending
back.
pretty
Okay,
hard
but,
on his,
but
like,
this goes
mother.
back to I
Top
think
Ride's
what,
not great. That
Okay.
mode, not great.
But I think don't you think maybe it's on your top 10 because as you just said earlier, you were 5 when it came out.
I wasn't actually 5 when it came out.
Okay.
You'd have to be 5
I
to
just
believe
wanted
that.
to throw nostalgia goggle shade at you
I feel you.
and just be like, okay, is that why? But
When did it come out? 2003? 3?
Yeah, it says
So I was 11.
Yeah.
Yeah, you totally have nostalgic highs.
Yeah.
No, but I played it recently, and I'm like, wow, I won a money match at MagFest 3
At
years ago.
MagFest?
$20 money match.
money match?
A
Two
money
players
match,
using
quote.
the Curve Star.
What did you?
Liam, 2018.
You
Easiest
stole
$20 I ever
$20
made.
from the one other person who
Money
played
match.
that game?
Kirby.
Hey, he was down.
Yeah, you destroyed that 12-year-old.
I
That
know.
was amazing.
He didn't stand a chance.
He didn't eat that night because he took
good.
his money.
I was good when I was 11.
So for anyone that doesn't know, like back in the day, we recorded a Super Best Friends Brawl. It was going to be the first with Liam, and we were going to play Kirby Air Ride, and he destroyed. Like it was a blowout of epic proportions, and the video was on a hard drive that Wooly just smashed. So we lost the video forever. But like, believe me. Believe in the you that believes in you, that believes in me, that Liam is like scary good at that game.
Yeah.
So.
We played City Trial, and like if you don't know about the legendary air ride vehicles, you can't win.
But
Yeah.
isn't your game pretty much an up-res Nintendo 64 game
Yeah.
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
they sold on a GameCube for?
I'm okay with the graphics,
You
but
okay
I know
with
that they're
getting
not
ripped
as
off?
strong as. Oh,
As
there's not enough
anything.
value in my graphics. Is that
No,
what you're
no,
saying?
yeah,
I should be getting more graphics for my
Exactly.
money.
You should be getting more pixels. Out of it, yeah.
Maybe
Poop
I
on
could have
it.
got a bit more graphics for my money.
Poop
I'll
on
admit it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So they got Animal Crossing, is what you're saying. It was essentially
Okay.
a 64 game.
Oh, ouch. I
Okay,
love that game.
So, Steve, I'm gonna need you to tell us all the awful things about Chrono Trigger.
Now,
Steve, I've been
Now,
waiting for this for 10 years.
I heard a
what must be
preview.
done.
I heard a preview of this interaction in an Uber the other night. Like, depending on how this goes, it could be devastating.
He may not live.
Yeah. There was a guy with a Chrono.
And the clock starts now.
Where's the
Is there a
Chrono
way I
tattoo
can
guy?
get like a pass or something?
No.
Like,
No, you do not.
How much money
You get a
do you have
lifeline.
on
You
you?
get to phone a friend.
You can't duck this, Steve.
Oh.
Okay. Well, let's see. God, it's such a perfect game. This is really difficult.
Boo! Boo!
All right.
Boo
all
this
right.
man. No.
Damn.
Are you like visually sweating? I see it build up there.
Man. Okay. I'm gonna need some help on this because.
No.
Oh, I can help you, Steve.
Oh, you can help me. Okay.
So
all right.
probably the second biggest
all
Chrono
right.
Trigger fan up here is probably Simmons.
No, I mean first.
All right. So, if you're not a Dragon Ball fan, I could tell you, you could say that the art style is kind of lame because they basically are Dragon Ball characters made by the same damn artists who have the same
okay, I
spiky
see, I
hair,
see.
and it looks really lame if you look at it from a comparison.
Like, if
which
you
is
don't
fine.
like the Dragon Ball art style, then you're not gonna like Chrono Trigger's art style, basically.
No, you're not.
Okay. All right,
You're
that's
not.
fair.
But the interactions of the characters are a little hokey. I mean, you could say that, but I mean, it's so
Now that's
hard
why
to
Steve
say
loves
that it's
it.
hokey because you start to fall in love with the characters
Boo.
after a while.
Boo.
And-
Boo, no, boo, boo, boo,
Wait,
boo, boo.
what?
Boo.
What?
Boo.
It's a terrible game. It's a terrible
Yeah.
game. It's horrible.
Yeah.
So, when you finally make it to Lavos and it becomes this extremely impactful interaction and all the emotions are coming around and you start to get teary-eyed because he's going to destroy the world and it's such an impactful game.
Boo.
It's a terrible game, guys.
Oh,
Please.
yeah.
This is horrible. This is an awful game.
He's selling me.
God.
Yeah.
It is not. Yeah, you're wrong. You're wrong.
Boo.
God.
Okay, so someone
tell
said
us why the
gaping
stream
plot
bur-
holes.
Gaping plot hole.
Gaping
Deep
plot
Yeah.
holes.
plot holes. Okay. When you first play the game and you realize that you have to travel through time and save the world from a princess and her magic pendant, do you really give a shit about plot holes at that point? Really?
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, shucks. Do you really give a shucks about plot holes?
Okay.
Oh my God.
Actually, put some legit criticism on
There.
the game.
Yeah. All right.
The worst part of Chrono Trigger is that there are some moments in the game that are these boss gauntlets without a chance to even like break in between, and it's a little annoying. Some of it's like when you go to the factory in the future with Robo to.
And you got to fight a bunch of robots.
You gotta fight a bunch of robots in a row.
well, that was
There's
in there.
if you get stuck on the conveyor belt. There, if you do the Black Omen side quest, when you get to the end of the Black Omen, it's like fight Queen Zeal, fight the AI of the ship, fight Queen Zeal again, like
Yeah,
in a
okay,
row.
so
So it's kind of there are
some
some
of the
moments where it's
enemies
like these are
do-
just some boss gauntlets and like
Yeah, some of the enemies do kind of come back, and it's basically the same thing. Even if you like leave some areas and come back, even like with some of the bosses, you come back and it's the same boss again. Maybe like in a different color variation or something like that. But
Didn't Deadpool say something like lazy writing?
yeah, it was
Lazy
kind of a little lazy writing on that fact. Sure.
being on
Little?
the giant ship right after all the continents fall, the Age of Antiquity. You probably don't remember any of this.
Oh,
Sneaking around the giant ship after you're captured is kind of boring.
Yeah.
The character of Dalton and everything
By the
in
way,
and
they're-
about him is awful.
there are minor spoilers in this, guys. So if you haven't played the game, you might want to cover your ears.
Oh man. I can admit that I mean, even with Max, he got to a certain section, he got to a certain part where there was some downtime. The game does have its downtime, and of course the grind is not as fun as you might think with some other.
Dude, this is like when a parent gets brought into the school and the teachers are like, listen, your child's pretty annoying. And you're like, look, okay, yeah, but...
I know, but he's a bad kid though, right? He's a bad kid. So you gotta explain it to him in a
So, Steve, you're going to have to call out the next person.
Yeah.
okay, all right.
Hope you cry into your Chrono Trigger tonight.
Oh God.
It's still better than 7.
Where is the?
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Matt.
I mean, I can answer that.
Steve, you're essentially forced to pick Matt at this point.
Okay, I'm gonna go off script a little bit here.
What?
I was recently on Twitter, and I saw Matt Liam do something that was unforgivable. He defended the new art style of Thundercats.
There goes the chair again. That's Steve's phone.
What in the world is going on?
I can easily answer that. I said, hey, maybe we should watch the cartoon before.
No! Boo this man! Boo this man! Boo this man! Oh,
So,
believe it.
Steve, are you saying that if I'm walking down the street and I see a person that I might not like the look of them, I should just hate them?
completely off context. There is no way.
Yeah.
There is no way.
We all know Steve prefers watching toy commercials to like
Oh
actual
my
cartoons.
God.
Yeah.
That original Thundercats, guys, it sucks.
Damn.
It was,
Wow.
it was,
It's
it
like
was,
fucking G.I. Joe. You
it
want to
was
buy action
designed to
love
sell
G.I. Joe.
toys.
Who doesn't love G.I. Joe?
Oof.
Oh
A lot of
my
people
God.
here.
Like, we need to get back on games, but, like, I will say that, like, hey, Thundercats had the exact same art style twice. Like, yeah, it kind of looks like a Cartoon Network thing, but let's just see if it's good. Like, am I in love with the art style? No, but I just give it a chance, that's all.
We all like bad things.
I like Thundercats, like, enough. Like,
I
as
have
a
a
kid,
dream.
I had, like, I had a Lino, and I had, what's the old guy, like, Thundra? It was, like, a guy with a beard. Jaga, thank you. Jago, no, Jaga.
Close enough.
And that's about as far as, like, I like Thundercats. I watch the show occasionally, and it wasn't, like, a thing I was really, really into. Like, I was more into Transformers and stuff. So I do understand Thundercats, mega fans, all 12 of you, that are like, okay, but this isn't what I wanted. But when Ninja Turtles comes back, and that's my all-time favorite, I'm always happy Ninja Turtles comes back because a new generation gets to enjoy it. Yeah, it's not going to be in the art style I wanted or the characters or the same personalities, but I'm like, I'm so glad this exists still. I meant the cartoons, but yeah, no, not the Michael Bay. Like, I think the Ninja Turtles and the Michael Bay movies are fine. Visually, they still don't look great, but their personalities are still there. It's everything else around them.
I mean, as long as Ninja Turtles media keeps getting made,
I'm
they're
happy.
gonna, the life of the franchise continues to exist.
Yeah.
Like
But
there
why
could
can't
have
they
just
just
been
make it good? Why
there could
can't
have
they
just
just
been
make
no
it
Thundercats.
It's almost like you can enjoy things even though it has
people
flaws.
want
Yeah,
would
almost.
rather have no Thundercats.
I
than
know.
that.
At that point, yeah.
Well, I mean, like at least this will give it another chance to come back in another.
Like, what if
form.
they made Street Sharks in that style?
That's only an improvement.
So
Street
whenever someone
dumb.
draws like something in the Thundercats roar style, but it's like Berserk or it's Godzilla,
There you go.
they're like,
Gargoyles.
would you like to see that, Matt? And I'm like, yes, I would. I would like to see the thing I like
course.
exist.
Give me back gargoyles.
Yeah, gargoyles.
Not in that art style.
Yeah.
Not in that art style.
Yeah.
No, just
I wanna
gargoyles.
squish
Give me good-
Xanatos's bean
I would
cheeks.
rather gargoyles
Bean
never
cheeks.
exist again. I would rather have the memory of the old gargoyles to then never have it exist
Oh my
in that
God.
form ever.
Oh my god.
No,
Oh
no,
my
no.
God.
So all future generations, you go, no, that's
No.
mine.
Why? No, you want to know why? Because I could show them the classic ones and
But you'll
they
be
enjoy
dead.
You
No,
guys,
we
gotta get to the game.
Video game.
Show them the good ones, not the bad ones.
Steve, video
Look
game.
at the list and call
Get back
out
on
again.
video game.
Use
All
your
right,
fuel
all right.
to energize that fire.
Here we go. All right, Matt.
Which one?
Yeah. Which one?
There's two of them.
Which Matt?
Muscles?
He forgets both of their
Simmons
last
or
names.
Muscles?
McMuscles hasn't defended one yet.
Yeah.
Final fight.
All right, it's almost time for the end of the panel. So thank you all for coming to. Oh shit. Okay. Final fight. Yeah, I like Final Fight a lot. So yeah, that's an awesome part. Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Are we talking?
Final Fight is one of those things that is definitely a product of its time. If you are familiar with modern games, you go back to it. It's incredibly basic combat. That's something that's pretty much undefendable. It's a punch, it's a kick, it's a grab, it's a jump kick, and that's about it in terms of gameplay.
Now, are we talking just the arcade, or is
I'm just gonna go on the arcade
yeah,
original.
too low hanging fruit
So,
for SNES?
Yeah,
right?
it's Super Nintendo port. I mean,
So we're talking like Street Fighter.
Streetwise, much like Thundercats Roar, I'm glad it exists.
Wow.
I'm glad that someone could look at Streetwise and go, that's pretty bad.
Yeah,
but
but didn't
where did the originals come from? I'm gonna go look at those now.
But at this point, Streetwise buried the franchise.
It did. But those characters continue on in Street Fighter.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
I'm always kind of happy for that.
Good enough.
Someone said Abigail. Abigail is not a great boss fight. He's not designed like particularly well. He's pretty cheap. Does way too much damage when he powers up. That's not great.
I remember recently, I think last year, you played through the 3 Streets of Rage games in the HD collection.
Yeah.
And I remember your worldview changing slightly after you finished those games.
Well, it's particularly Streets of Rage 1.
Yeah.
No, that was the one because I had only played Streets at my friend's house. My friend had a Genesis and I had a Super Nintendo, and we tried to like exchange games as much as we could.
Were you actually
And he
friends?
was sorry.
Were you actually friends if you had a SNES and he had a Genesis?
Yeah, because it was more like a symbiotic relationship where I'm like, oh, my parents won't buy me a Super Nintendo so I can play games at your house. And then my parents don't even know what a Genesis is, so I'm going to go play at yours. But I'd say that, Streets of Rage, but like this is more of a compliment to Streets of Rage than it is like a criticism of Final Fight. But Streets of Rage 2 has a greater variety of moves and plays much better than Final Fight 2.
Then why do you like such an inferior game?
Well, because it gets evened out, because I feel Final Fight 3 is much better than Streets of Rage 3.
Tell me about the
Okay.
first
So you had to
fight.
sit through 2 games of trash to make it to the main course? Who does that? Who eats like, I'm just going to eat all this terrible food until...
I guess you would know since you played Mortal Kombat other than Street Fighter.
Oh, that's bringing it around.
Damn.
This is the point of this panel, by the way.
You hate each other.
Yeah. He has a knife. I want to say one more thing. Final Fight
Real deep
1.
cuts here.
Final Fight 1 is way too short of a beat 'em up. It could be a lot longer. The very first one. It's you can beat it in like less than 30 minutes. It should be longer. The stages are a bit too short, and the Andore enemies, Hugo if you're feeling nasty. They're not fun to fight either. They have way too much health.
How many quarters?
How many quarters?
Like quarters.
Final Fight 1, way too much. Like, it is literally meant
Exactly.
to steal your money.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not great. Is it better than Double Dragon 3, where you had to use microtransactions and put more quarters into the machine to buy items?
Oh.
Yeah, no. Final Fight's better than that.
Oh my god, I didn't even know that existed.
Yeah, to get extra characters, lives, and weapons, it asks you put in more quarters. It's microtransactions.
It's a weird, obscure thing.
brilliant.
Actually, that
I gotta
happened a
see
lot
it.
in the 80s. Like that one
Really?
off-road game had the same thing where you could put more quarters and put stats on your
Did not know that.
cars. Yeah, something off-road thing with the wheel and you spin it and had
That's
the same
not
thing.
great.
Yeah, it's a fantastic game.
All right, give me.
Steve thinks you earned it.
Okay. Let's see. Max.
Here we go.
Mr. Kroger. Please explain to me the many flaws of Asura's Wrath. The game that charges you for its ending.
It's such a softball.
Get him.
It's so easy.
It should be easy.
So, Asura's Wrath, while it might have one of the coolest characters ever, I'm moving forward. It might also be essentially a QTE smash fest of a game where you 90% of the time watch really awesome cutscenes. I'm sorry. However, when you're not QTEing through cutscenes, you're playing arena sort of style combat that isn't exactly good.
You mean bad?
Yeah.
You mean the game has bad gameplay?
No,
What
because that would
gameplay?
insinuate the game has gameplay at all.
Wow,
What gameplay?
It would.
It might have been the beginning of Capcom going the route of Capicipicom and starting like the bad DLC practices, because I can't really remember a lot of stuff that happened before Asura's Wrath where people are like, hey, what the hell? Because this was like the game that literally charged you for the real ending. And being someone that jumped into this title several years after and completely ignored it when it first came out, I didn't really know that until I got to the end and I had to go buy the ending. And I was like, oh, this is why people were mad. And it's really it's a shame because the ending is really good. And it's got one of the coolest fights I've ever seen, but that is... It's terrible that they did that to people.
And if you recall, if you did not get an S rank on a single stage, like if you missed one, it would also cut off the bad ending from even playing.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even a different ending. It was just they cut the ending off, and
Yeah.
then it would just play the rest when you went back to that stage and re-S ranked it.
Yeah, that's a thing.
Yeah, it is a thing.
How would you describe that thing?
I
Is
would
that-
I would describe it in a bad decision that was made during development. However, I'm trying so hard not to defend things of this game because I've been defending it for like 8 years or something like that. I will say that, yeah, in terms of gameplay and in terms of what you actually do with it and being a video game, it is not great. I'm glad no one else has anything else to interject because we all can truly agree that Asura's Wrath is pretty dope.
I mean, it's putting it mildly to say it's not great gameplay. It's legitimately like, I think the on-rails sections are probably the best part just because you're actually doing something. Otherwise, it's kind of mashing X until the burst gauge fills, then you just hit the trigger, and that's it. You are literally just filling a gauge and pressing a button. It's like going to a movie that costs $60, and then someone comes in from the theater and says, hey, if you pay $15 more, we'll show the ending.
Yeah. And it's
Everyone
also
get out your card.
it's also essentially a Japanese version of God of War, which is sort of what they were going for, like
Just worse.
an Eastern context God of War, but it's like 10 times less the gameplay. So it's like you kind of didn't realize what people liked about God of War, but hey, them some pretty cool cutscenes though.
Yeah, they thought everybody liked all the QTEs of God of War.
Yeah, so they made the
that's
whole
what they liked.
game
They
nearly.
like that.
That's-
And they don't
that's
like
like
any of the
someone-
combat.
That's like someone saying, "Man, these Zack Snyder movies have really great-looking cutscenes," but then you start thinking about the story and the characters and what's actually happening.
Whatever. This guy's got 6 arms and he's cool.
As an interesting side note, back when Asura's Wrath only had that one trailer where it was shot from the back and he had all these spears coming out of his back.
The first trailer,
And that
yeah.
was it. And then when I got invited to go to Captivate one year, and that was when they actually showed off the game to the press for the first time, and they started showing it on a screen, and I looked at what you were doing, and I looked around the room, and you saw everyone's faces drop. Like,
Oh no.
it's this.
That's it?
And I could just envision little Maximilian going, yeah, in the back.
Well, the funny thing is that like I mostly just didn't even give
Yeah, you were.
raps about the
you
game
weren't
until
there.
like later when it was like everyone was saying you should play Asura's Wrath, and like in 2014, I think it was 2 or 3 years even after it came out, I fell in love and I was like, oh, this game is so cool. But I mean, I'm not going to say anything bad about Asura's Wrath because plenty of other people like great reasons to do so. But I'm going to ask if Kenny,
God,
I
that
want
twice?
you. Did I already ask Kenny? Did I already ask?
let's
if
go.
he-
No, he
Let's
you
bring it
asked-
on.
you asked
Bring it on.
me, I believe.
All my games are
I asked
trash
Simmons. You know what,
anyways.
let's
so.
go with Simmons
Pretty
because Simmons, I need you to tell me everything that's bad.
No, he wouldn't.
Soul Calibur.
Ooh,
One.
everything
Yeah,
is bad.
Soul Calibur. Not as a series. I need you to try to dig deep into your Kingdom Hearts, and I need you to tell me what's not good in the first Soul Calibur on Dream. Actually, let's just say the first Soul Calibur in general.
Well, this is a gimme.
Half the roster is more or less clones,
Yeah, okay.
and that's
Okay.
it.
Okay.
That's it.
Come on.
Yeah, Max. What else is wrong with Soul Calibur
Dig
on
deep.
Dreamcast?
We said the first one in general, not just Dreamcast.
Specifically
Well,
Dreamcast.
just
Well,
Arcade?
no, not specifically Dreamcast. Soul
well,
Calibur
it's
in general.
supposed to be specifically Dreamcast.
Well, I can tell you that the arcade version of Soul Calibur is also pretty, in terms of what was eventually on the console version, not nearly as good of a game.
Yeah,
Don't
well,
let his
I didn't even
deflection
play
work.
the arcade till after the Dreamcast one, so
See through his trap.
He's just dancing on stage right now.
So does did Simmons just get a freebie?
no. You got to dig deep.
Yeah, he's not digging
on.
deep
Let's see
enough.
some
Deep
Digging deep
cuts.
enough.
Well,
You don't win
I
this.
just said that half
one
the
thing.
roster's kind of just clones.
And
And what? Come on.
and
I'm waiting.
You got to dig deep.
No, he was.
No, yeah, it totally is.
Uh-oh. This is Simmons' party right now.
Give us a sec, dude.
Yeah,
Okay.
this is the Simmons' party.
So outside of, did you ever actually play through the World Tour mode
Yeah.
in the game?
I did.
So some of the challenges aren't exactly like fun in that. Do you remember a lot of it?
Okay, yeah,
Or it's like they
I
just
think I see.
bounce your
Yeah,
ass
I think where
around?
you're going there, yeah, a little
It's
bit.
a cool
but
mode, but
I had never seen anything like that in a fighting game before. Something with that much like context and depth at that point. So it's kind of like, oh, this is pretty cool. Yeah, maybe it could have. Obviously, it could have been done a lot better. Going in hindsight, say from what Mortal Kombat 9 and X did with like their single player campaigns and stuff. But
10 years in the future.
10 years in the future, but sure. Like, it may not be as, how about this? It would not be nearly as fun to unlock everything in Soul Calibur 1 today as it was on 9.
Yeah, dude, you look at
9.99.
that roster when you. I'll definitely say that, even though I'm a Soul Calibur fan myself. I wanted to see what Simmons was going to dig deep, and he didn't
'Cause-
dig deep at all. He's just like,
And I'm
"Oh."
not hearing
yeah.
anything else
Well,
from
why don't-
anyone
why
Because
else.
I can't think of anything wrong with it.
Yeah,
Why don't you
right,
just-
thank
why don't you
you.
just talk
it is
about
such a perfect game.
I'll throw it in here. Will you fire up that game without any save data, and there is a disparity of kind of stuff. It's like arcade mode, the World Tour mode, and that's it. But then you have to unlock like the time attack and all the other things
Like
to
in-
start
like
going.
tag or
and when you
whatever.
first see the character roster in Soul Calibur Dreamcast, it's just one row. and it's like maybe 10, 12 characters, and then the entirety of the second row opens up through actual playtime. So I'm like, man,
I think the ultimate problem with that game is that it's just not as good as Tekken. I mean, that's just the problem with it. I mean, that's unfortunate.
Yeah,
but
tell
I
us-
mean,
I like how there was no reaction to that.
yeah, I mean,
Because everyone's like, whatever, shut up, Steve.
what? What?
I don't know if I'd agree with that. So here's one thing I'll argue about Soul Calibur, and this is something that I carried personally when back in the day. When someone would talk to you about Soul Calibur, Dreamcast specifically, everyone thought they were amazing.
Oh my
at the
God,
game.
this was- yes.
Everyone would always be like, "Yo, but Soul Calibur, I'll take you on." And for some reason, it always because the game was incredibly accessible in comparison to Tekken. That was like
Exactly.
the whole point was that they had to like take the systems, let's make movement super easy, let's make these attacks do crazy damage, and they kind of like dropped what Tekken's skill barrier was. It is a more accessible weaponized version of Tekken,
Boo.
and in that process, everyone thinks they're godlike at Soul Calibur on Dreamcast.
No, it's kind of true. If Steve can beat you guys in Soul Calibur from time to time, it's not saying much about the combat.
Yep, that is there.
Steve does not play Soul Calibur.
play-
We're
and
getting there.
he's
We're
taking
getting
these guys
there
to
now.
school.
Explain
Explain that.
I don't ever
Simmons,
remember being taken
fight-
to school from
fight-
Steve.
Oh, man, check the tape.
Check the
I think we should
streams.
check the tape.
I would
Steve-
love to check those streams.
I'm sure they're out there.
There's been times.
We had
like,
a first to 40, and I remember winning that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but like a first to
40.
40, but like he took a couple off you.
Of course.
You know what? Fight him in a first to 40 in Tekken with his
Here-
best
here-
character.
here's the thing.
You won't win one. I guarantee it.
Sure, I
you're-
don't care, though.
Yeah, you don't care. See, because your game is flawed. It's very just.
My game is flawed because someone can beat me in it. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. That's
Exactly.
pretty weak.
That's a baby's toy.
I wish we had pre-prepared for this, and then a TV would just rise in front of you,
like smoke.
and steam and stuff. Let's go, first to 40.
First to 40. The rest of the stream.
Okay. I don't care about getting good. I care about having fun. I feel that's what fighting games should be.
Oh, man, we even had some of the techs over there cheering for that.
I think you suffered enough.
You know what?
yeah.
I said Liam last time, so I'm going to defer over to Matt. Perfect Dark. Because I like that game a lot, so I want to hear what you have to say.
Perfect Dark. So off the bat, I enjoy Perfect Dark more than GoldenEye.
Yes. Yes.
Hey, no.
But because of how much better it is, you
Yes.
know, Perfect Dark does not hold up in terms of frame rate at all, especially.
I don't know
Never
that
did.
it did in 2000.
I didn't. You're like, I didn't know it had frame rate.
Yeah, we didn't know that existed.
It had a
technically.
frame or two.
Throwing an N-bomb in, that's a different type of N-bomb. Throwing the N-bomb in that game, don't throw it. Like, that weapon is banned, that you can't do it. It breaks the game in multiplayer.
Yeah, it's like trying to run Doom 2016 on
And
a
the-
Pentium 1 or something.
Right,
That's
right,
what it
right.
looks
And the
like.
giant competitiveness that is Perfect Dark, right? That scene of like 5 people at whatever convention you go to.
You know, on the N64, it could be whatever Basement Kings were
Yeah.
around at the time.
Basement
but
Kings, I like
when it came out on the 360 with the, like, I'm not even going to talk about that version because that's unfair because its frame rate is silky
It
smooth
fixes
and
a
all
bunch
that.
of stuff.
Fixes
The
almost
replay
all the
version,
problems.
right?
Yeah.
It works on a dual analog controller, so it's like, but the N64 original, even on both, the single player mode is probably a little too hard in some isolated in some isolated levels. There's some objectives, especially when you're with Elvis, that are just a little too much. I find a lot the evil alien race, the Skadar, are kind of garbage. They're a bad design. They're not. They don't look like anything. It's like a bad xenomorph. It reminds me of the aliens that me and Max fought in the Aliens arcade game the other night. They look so off-brand.
Like amalgamations
They look like
of other
bad
stuff.
knockoff. They look like
I
Snailians.
always thought they looked like budget ID4 aliens.
Sorry.
I always thought they looked like budget ID4 aliens.
Yeah, a little
Independence
bit.
Day, yeah.
The Far Sight is unbalanced in multiplayer. But
A little bit.
it's super cool when you get it, but like a lot of friend arguments and a lot of punching about whoever get the Far Sight.
How's those controls?
Laptop gun is it's not as bad as the Farsight, but it's still pretty broken. Liam made a snide comment about what was it?
How about them controls?
How about the controls? That's not a perfect dark thing more. That's still like an N64 pad thing. In
I
general.
feel like if you turn it to Turok style with the
the superior style.
right with the yellow arrow keys is like your WASD. Like
Yeah.
that actually makes the game totally
Damn,
fine.
I should have put Turok 2 on my list instead of Perfect Dark.
There's more
I would have
goofy
loved
stuff
to
in
rip
Turok,
that. Yeah, it's just, I'd say that's it. Like even with those problems, like I still think it's the best shooter on the N64 at the very least. But
Oh yeah.
Yeah, tough competition.
Oh, yeah.
What do you say, Jet
Yeah,
Force
I know,
Gemini?
right?
Like,
I think.
no, no.
Nausea.
I
That's
think so.
that's not good. You should have said like Armorines Project Swarm.
Project Swarm, but it
Yeah.
had co-op, so we overlooked everything with that game.
So Matt, we're at like 10 minutes left. You might
Dang.
want to rapid fire a
Yeah,
few of
do you
these
have to
and
do a
find
Rapid
like,
fire,
a couple
rapid
of things
fire.
and then pass it on.
Liam, I'm sick of you always talking crap about Nier Automata.
yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
do you want to go back to Canada?
I have some story complaints, but I won't air those because I'm going to try to avoid spoilers for some stuff 'cause it's still recent.
Dang.
Good boy.
There's a second portion of the game that any of you who finished it will know about. For a lot of people, that bit's real bland.
Are we just saying?
and
Can we just say B?
I'm trying to avoid it as much as possible. Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
if we just say B, right?
Well, now people know because you said it, so I don't need to say it.
They may not know what I'm talking about.
There's some bits in that section that drag on really long. Some of the shooting sections that are really tedious the second time through. One of the bosses is like 10 minutes long, and it's a shooting section on the
Yeah,
water.
I think I timed it.
And
it was that. It's like,
so tedious. Yeah,
even if you're over leveled, it doesn't even help that much.
because you have to wait for the screen to
You
scroll
have
through
to
the whole
wait
thing.
for stuff to load in.
Let him have it. We have 10 minutes.
Yeah, when the servers are gone, good fucking luck with this game. Good luck. Like,
Wait, no. But don't they have? I've heard that they have an autofill of.
no, you have to be connected to the network though, is what I mean.
Really? Cause
Yeah.
I don't know this
Because I tried to beat it without.
Oh, you did? So, well, I tried to go as long as I could, and then I was like, I can't do it without. And
It
then
is doable, but
someone did it and recorded
yeah,
it, and I'm
no,
just
the-
kind of like, give that man a medal.
the level of skill required is bafflingly high. So good luck when the servers are down.
Isn't it?
If I
Don't you
could
guys just like
interject,
it
I'd say
for character
graphically it's not the best looking action game.
Yeah, but
I
I
would
don't.
say our
Other-
I mean,
other
it'd
things
be
look
great
much
if it was on the
better.
Dreamcast.
You know
It would
what?
look
Though? It's
fantastic.
kind of like I can kind of defer that. I'm going to defense point that
What?
by just saying that if
You're not the one that's supposed
I don't care, I don't
I think
care.
I'm gonna say the same thing.
Because Liam
though.
would say the same thing, and he
Yeah.
needs a drink.
Yeah.
If you're Square Enix and someone is like, okay, we're going to greenlight a sequel to Nier. How much money do you think Square's going to give out to that game?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
you can't expect much from a game of that caliber to be like, how much money you want to put into this project? $5, $10?
Yeah, like there's no, I don't know. I want to say the graphics are underwhelming, but it like endeavors to run at 60, so that's tough. But the PC port is jacked.
Okay.
The PC port is jacked, and
Is
they
it
never
still
fixed
jacked?
it. Yep, they
So
never.
yeah,
Oh,
fixed
they just
it.
never fixed it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a Durante style fix,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So they
which
fixed
fixes
okay.
it, but it's like, well, again, it's one of those things where
We
where-
shouldn't need that.
So it's
why
like-
why do people have to keep doing the job
Why?
for people on Steam and stuff like
That's
that?
the one
Yeah,
thing about
exactly.
mods.
Yeah.
Other than that, I guess you have to work a lot harder than in Bayonetta or Devil May Cry 4 to do stylish stuff. I think a lot of people say the game is shallow because of that. I don't think it's shallow, but you do have to work so much harder. The skill floor for doing fancy shit beyond can't swear. Beyond just like quick launcher combos to the ground
right.
and stuff,
That's a
like basic
borderline.
stuff.
That's a borderline
Um,
criticism.
You have to work much harder to get the really fancy stuff going. So.
All right, lightning round. Who's next?
Next up will be Steve.
Damn it.
No,
Jeff
no,
sucks. Gee whiz.
Kenny only did one.
Right?
Did Steve do two?
No.
I think
I think I did.
You can bring I'm
I'm pretty sure I did. I did too.
No.
Kenny's only done one. Kenny's only done
Steve,
one.
you're gonna do Def Jam Vendetta.
Oh my God, dude, come on!
Kenny's next.
Oh my God. Okay.
No, wait. We had a debate about. Are we talking Vendetta or Fight for New York?
Well, I'll go to Fight for
yeah.
New York. I'll
He
go to Fight
likes
for New York
Fight for
because
New York.
yeah, it was Fight for
Okay.
New York. So I guess you know.
The hokiest story of all time.
I mean, is
Rappers
there a story?
settling beef
Yeah.
by fighting in the streets.
That's how it is.
Yeah.
That's how it is.
You couldn't put enough bling on the characters because there was not enough ice you could put on the characters.
Yeah, but this is Jacob's Jewelers. So I'm gonna put some nice ice on you. You're gonna look real nice.
You could
they
go
had
to
make sure.
Jacob.
They had to make sure.
Steve.
Your created character was kind of off. Like there wasn't enough options for the created character, so you ended up looking like just one of the other rappers that were in there. So sure, I guess the Tupac wasn't in it. I'm upset about that. Why not? I mean,
Deep cuts here.
right? Come on.
Yeah, he's getting in it.
Wait, was Snoop in that one or?
Snoop
Yes.
was in
Yeah,
it.
was
he's
in that
Crow.
one.
Boss.
Yeah, he was the boss, and
It'd be cool if like Tupac could have been like a ghost and he was like your stand and he would like be behind you.
That's the best game ever.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I would have been fine if like Biggie Smalls was like a secret boss, and you try to
He just comes out of a grave.
right, yeah, zombie.
No, he's like
Biggie.
Sephiroth. He comes down from the sky.
Sure. Oh God.
Biggie Smalls.
So many bad things. All right, I'm gonna pass it off because that's enough of that game. Here's a good one. Power Stone 2. Kenny.
That's me.
The only game with less fans than Mortal Kombat 2.
Oh my God.
Ouch.
All right. What's wrong with Power Stone
Well,
2?
we could talk about how the gameplay is significantly dialed down from part one with
One
one
is
less
so much
button,
better.
and is more of a item-based game than part one, which is more of a fighting
Oh,
type
thank you,
game.
Kenny. It feels so good to hear
part
you say
two
that.
relies way more on items and just throwing as many things as possible and gathering the stones, while part one was more focused on combat and not so much on the stones, and the stones were kind of your super, where part two is like, hey, just gather, throw as many things, gather the stones, and win.
There's so many things wrong with that
There's
game.
way
terrible.
too few stages in part 2.
Oh, yeah, there's not that many. I mean,
There
there
really is.
it could be like part one where there's big square, little square,
Yeah.
rectangle, square, obtuse square, 90 degrees. Yeah, I mean, of course.
We're talking about
Or we
two,
could
though.
talk about the number, very little, of dynamic, amazing stages in part
Kenny,
two
we
that
lose
have
them.
awesome transitions and crazy things happening.
Are
But
some
there
of
are-
those transitions
there
really
are
that
few
good?
of them.
Sometimes they're
There
just
are
waiting.
few of them, and that was just very weak on their part. Exactly.
Oh no!
Oh no!
Is that an alien?
I don't believe
and
it.
then Time Stone. And then we're going to talk about why Bayonetta is just such a cringy game. So they're good to Simmons.
All right, that's Bayo 2.
Bayo 2, whatever.
the-
They're like the same game. Right?
Liam would have,
They're just the
Liam would
same
have issue
game.
with that.
It's like, oh, look, here's Hair Lady again doing naked things, so weeby
I'll just let
people
him
could
go.
just, drool like this guy over here. All right, let it have it. Go ahead.
The only problem with Bayonetta 2 is that the depth, the high level play is not as deep as Bayo 1, and the scoring system is super lenient. And the Umbran climax kind of just turns the whole game into easy mode, even on higher difficulties. Now, Liam, what else you got to say about that?
The last boss. Who is
Yeah, he's a
flaccid
letdown.
7.0 fight.
Yeah, the last boss is kind of like me and Max kept calling him Space Poncho.
Yeah.
Because he just had like this weird
He has a
astral
space poncho,
poncho.
yeah.
And it's like that was the last boss, and it was like,
I mean, story-wise, it's an interesting reveal, but like when you're actually fighting, it was like, oh.
And like coming after the first Bayonetta and then
Yeah.
Wonderful 101.
I
really stepped it up.
100% agree with you there. Like
what you guys are
Jubileus
saying, it's a
was
bad
so much
game.
better as the last fight.
It's a bad game then.
Yeah.
guys- okay, cool.
Exactly.
Just making sure. We're on that.
Space Poncho, bad
All
game.
right, Max, you and I got to wrap it around it. Resident Evil 4.
Yeah.
I think me and Simmons.
Get that god awful game out of here.
Let's just talk about how it's the least scary Resident Evil.
I'll take fun over scary.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so yeah, I will say Ashley on first playthrough
Oh, gosh.
is not great having to deal with her, and she doesn't essentially like do anything. There's only a couple parts where Ashley is actually effective when you play her, but she doesn't actually like, you know, Leon or Ashley chuck this barrel at zombies or something.
I feel like Ashley's only a problem if you suck.
Wow,
Damn.
underhanded compliment? Not
Damn.
really?
Because, I mean, you could always just say, go in the trash can. Like,
Yeah.
just get in the dumpster.
Where you belong.
Really weird in retrospect. Ashley, get in the dumpster. Okay, Leon.
Now never come out.
I'm trying to think of anything else that I really. I would say that Sadler, while I do like him as a like an overall bad guy, like the transformed fight in the end is sort of a
the
QTE fest, where you have to like get the beams and you have to knock them with beams. I think
well,
it's
you don't
okay.
have to do that, though, which
You
is kind of
can- I mean,
cool.
you can make it hard,
But
like,
it feels
Yeah.
like more of a victory lap. than-
like because the victory lap in Resident Evil 4 is what, like getting out of there
On the jet
with
ski.
Ashley on the jet ski. That's the Dante escape on the plane moment.
The island section is weak.
Which one?
Overall, the island
Really?
is weak overall compared to the
I
levels
like it,
before
but I
it.
think visually it's
Yeah, visually it
aesthetically
sucks.
it's
Okay,
much weaker.
I'll accept that answer.
Yeah, I mean, otherwise it's kind of like.
Wait,
I'll
are you guys doing this together
Oh,
now?
yeah,
You're both.
yeah. I'll defend the
effort.
island a little bit by saying like, yeah, it's kind of just a gauntlet of enemies because
Yeah.
it's the last area, so they're trying to bump up the difficulty a bit. But yeah, aesthetically, it's just kind of like, eh.
I will say, running around and all of a sudden, like you're mid-combat and you have to grab something on the ground and oh crap, your attaché case is full. I got to find room for this 6-slot thing, and you just, while there is technically zombies paused around you, you're just like trying to like solve this Tetris puzzle of where to fit a golden egg.
I think it's a fair criticism, but it's also kind of something I kind of like almost enduringly like is the Tetris aspect. So
Rip it to Matt. Give it to Matt.
yeah, Matt.
Matt McMuscles, you go. Go ahead.
We have time for one more.
have time for
Yeah,
one more
we have
rip.
the last one in us.
Make Matt dig deep and dig hard.
Mario 3.
What?
Which Super Mario
Brothers
Brothers 3?
Matt.
Yeah.
That awful game?
Yeah, that.
This is easy. This is a slam dunk.
The box art's too bright.
Hurts your eyes.
Boo! Boo! Boo!
Box art is too bright.
Very
I
yellow.
I feel really bad for Sonic because it's so much worse than Mario Brothers 3, like all of them. So there's that.
That doesn't have anything to do with Mario, though.
Boo!
Come on, Matt. I feel I can dig deep with you on this one if we really try.
There we go.
I hate the kid from The Wizard.
Nope.
Don't we all?
Come on. You need a little help here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let him have it.
Not the last, but some of the mid-worlds, like you never go to them. And the reason you never go to them is not just because you can warp, but because Iceland and Pipe Maze aren't really that fun.
Yeah. Iceland is not fun, and I do try to skip it if I can.
Yeah.
The pipe world too. Like it's
I like.
creative.
Shut up! I
but-
like the pipe world.
Oh, okay.
Shut up.
I like the pipe. World.
You like the level where you're just standing on those little invisible elevators and just kind of like slowly do raising,
They're okay.
jump off, and you just go up another one. Like not auto scrolling level basically.
Yeah, I think those mix up the game. Like it gives a bit more variety to the levels.
Trashing
Sure.
this or
But like specifically like that elevator level is just kind of like
I mean, if you're good, they're fine.
yeah, but they're not fun even when you rock them.
Did you mention the bright box art thing?
The bright box art.
Yeah.
Did I mention that?
He really doesn't like that.
I don't like.
It hurt his
it's
eyes.
so
as a kid.
yellow.
Yeah, it is very yellow.
tell
Okay,
us why.
because in Mario Brothers 3, when my parents got me it for Christmas, I could see the box art through the plastic bag that was in the basement when I was hunting for my Christmas presents.
Yeah.
So it spoiled me on the present. That's the worst part of Mario. Boo. Even I'm booing myself.
For some reason, all I could see is that moment where that kid goes to buy that copy of Bone Storm with his mom. Like, don't buy one for my sister. Like, I'm not going to take that one. I love that moment.
What we can do, we can read off the rest that we have on our names, so you can see what other games we had on our list.
Yeah, I had Bloodborne and Phantasy Star Online.
Damn, we never got him with that one.
Yeah, Bloodborne.
That I didn't like about, but now I don't. So I'm pretty happy about that. Simmons,
I had Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze.
terrible game.
That's the only one I had.
Terrible,
I didn't
terrible
have to
game.
defend.
Nice. All right. I had Resident Evil 2.
Awful game.
Yeah. Tank controls that were just horrible.
Unless you played N64.
Yeah, it was.
It was in a city.
Bad. Yeah, a city, and it was like Resident. Yeah, and then I had No Mercy.
WWF No Mercy.
Yeah, probably the
Flawless.
worst wrestling game.
That
of all
glitch, that memory glitch.
Oh my God, that's why it's terrible. I
Yeah.
spent like hours because the best friends were gonna come over.
Oh, yeah.
and,
Kenny has made us several times in that game.
I made
characters.
everyone like detailed in that game, and
then
then
it-
we went to power it up the day before. Glitched out. The game
And
almost blew
it's
up,
gone.
and everything was gone.
It's
That was
a
like
known
12
glitch.
hours of work.
12,
Yeah.
more like.
I had SOCOM, which a lot of people don't remember, so I could have probably ripped into that a lot.
It's one of your big favorites, though, SOCOM.
So
Yeah.
come two.
SOCOM 2, yeah. SOCOM 2 was my jam. And then Mega Man X. And
That would have been hard.
I'm glad
The
nobody
worst
hard.
Mega Man.
Right?
I'm glad nobody got it.
What did I have? I had, besides those two, I had Streets of Rage, which is my big favorite. We got Final Fight in there already, so that was
Yeah.
fun.
You mentioned it.
And I had The World Ends With You as well.
World ends with you.
Do you want to read out your scratched out ones?
Oh, yeah. So Matt took guesses at the others. I scratched them out. One of them was Lost Kingdoms, which has never been a favorite, but I like that game. And the other one was Small Soldiers for the PlayStation. Which for some reason
Why
just
would he
didn't
think-
last
Yeah.
when I looked at that.
Why wasn't
Why would
Knack
he
2
think
on there?
that was your favorite game?
Right? It's certainly not my favorite movie or anything.
I had one more left. It would have been Max probably would have been like, "Oh God, like good luck with that." Alien vs Predator by Capcom for the arcade.
Wow.
I was like, man, no one better pick that. I can't
The best beat 'em up
think
of all
of
time. It would have been
anything.
impossible.
So that's it for YoVideoGames versus Matt Liam Payback.
Yeah.
Hope you guys enjoyed it. So all our games suck, basically.
Yeah.
They're
all
all
our favorite
terrible.
games are really
All right, thank you for coming out, everybody.
We have the worst